Hey everyone, my name is Zach, and today we're going to show you a little video on how to get a Unifi USG and a Fortigate talking to each other over a VPN. We spent quite a while getting this to work, and we found that Google and Unifi and Fortigate were absolutely no help in getting this done. So we decided we're going to make a video to show not only our internal employees, but everybody else out there how easy it is to get done so nobody has to struggle through this anymore. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna log into the Unifi side first. I mean, you can log into the Fortigate side first, it doesn't really matter, but I prefer the Unifi side first because it's a little bit quicker. We go over to devices because the first thing we're gonna do after we log into our site is we want to actually get the WAN IP of our network because we need this in order to set up a VPN. So in order to get the WAN IP, you go to your USG, and you go to WAN 1 and you grab the IP right there. So I'm going to copy that, paste it. All right, so we got the WAN IP. Now we go to settings, go to networks, go create new network. We do site to site VPN, manual IPsec. So we're going to give it a name. Call it Nocturne Monitoring. Because this is one of our client sites that we need to do some monitoring on using our data center network. And we go to add subnet. So the remote subnet is the subnet on the opposite side of the tunnel. So the subnet that you want to connect to. So for us, this is 172.168.200.0/24. Your peer IP is the IP address of your Fortigate device. Your local WAN IP is the WAN IP address that we just grabbed off of the USG. P-shared key can honestly be anything that you want. We're going to just do a very basic password 2020. And then the IPsec profile is customized. And then they also have stuff for Microsoft Azure. So customized because we're just connecting to a Fortigate. Next is we drop down advanced options. Our key exchange version is going to be IKEV1. Our encryption is going to be AES 128. If you want a little bit higher encryption, do 256. 3DES, don't ever use it unless you absolutely have to or unless the remote side requires you to, because AES 128 and 256 are a lot stronger. Our hashing algorithm is SHA-1. MD5 and SHA-1 are comparable, but SHA-1 is the preferred. Diffie-Hellman group, just leave it at 14. But you get all these options in case the remote side wants something different. Keep PFS enabled, keep dynamic routing enabled, and then we hit save. So the Unifi side is actually pretty easy. There's not a lot going on here. It's the Fortigate side that has a lot more config going on to it. So now that the Unifi side is done, you can see Nocturne monitoring, site to site. You can see our subnet that we want to send to. For the Fortigate side, it's roughly the same deal. So we log into our Fortigate, we go to VPN, go to IPsec tunnels, we create new IPsec tunnel. Now you can just go directly to the IPsec wizard if you want, it doesn't really matter. We're going to give our tunnel a name. We're going to use the template type of custom, and we're going to hit next. Now here is where we have to put in all of our information, the same info that we put on the opposite side of the Unifi. We want it to match. So the remote gateway IP, the interface that we want it to be is WAN 1 because this is the interface that we're going to use to reach this remote IP. Okay? We want mode config off, local gateway off, NAT traversal on, keep alive, just leave it as it is. Dead peer on demand, leave it as it is. Forward error correction, we just leave that alone. Authentication mode is going to be pre-shared. So our pre-shared key is, as you can imagine, password 2020 bang bang. It's the same key that we used on the Unifi side. Our IKE version is going to be 1 because that's what it was on the Unifi side. Our mode is going to be main. We don't need to worry about that. And then our phase 1 proposal. So I have found with the Fortigate and the Unifi side that you want to actually remove every proposal that isn't being used, and you only just want to have the one proposal on it. So our one proposal is going to be AES 128 SHA-1 with a Diffie-Hellman group of 14. Make sure to remove that 5 that shows up by default. Okay. Local key lifetime is 86400. That's fine. Local ID blank. XAuth disabled. Phase 2 selectors. We're going to set the addresses to 0000. And same thing with the remote subnet. Now, if anybody knows if they can put the local and remote differently, let me know, because I haven't been able to get it to work unless I put just all zeros in remote and local. And now we're on to our phase 2. We want to do the same thing, is we want to remove all phase 2s except for the one explicitly defined in the Unifi one, right? So that would be our 128 SHA-1. We want to keep replay detection on, PFS on, Diffie-Hellman group, remove 5, keep 14 on, local port on, remote, blah, blah, blah. Auto negotiate on, auto key automatically selects, seconds, 43,200, all good. Now we hit OK. So this creates our tunnel, but it's still not up. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to set up the static routes. So now we go to network, go to static routes, create new, and now we put in the subnet address of the remote site that we're trying to get to. So that's it for the Unifi side. The gateway, it doesn't really matter because we're going to grab our interface and we're going to grab the PAL right there. PAL GD interface. Administrator distance, we'll leave that. Comments, you don't really need. Status enabled, and then don't worry about advanced options. We're just going to press OK. Now, we've got to set up the policy to let our FortiGate LAN subnets talk to the remote site subnets through the appropriate interfaces and vice versa. So we'll do the FortiGate site first, and then we'll do the Unifi site. So now we've got to go to the IPv4 policies and objects. I'm going to create new. We want to name it something useful, so the incoming interface will be our LAN, because that's the interface that the monitoring system that we want these sites to connect to is actually on. Our outgoing interface is going to be the VPN tunnel interface. Our source is going to be the LAN subnet of the FortiGate you want to share with the Unifi site. We'll call that our cloud subnet. Our destination is the LAN subnet of the remote site. So we actually want to create a new address for this. So we'll do address. It'll be a subnet, so 192.168.160.0/23. Interface. Okay. There we go. Schedule always, service all. Action accept. NAT disabled. Make sure to disable NAT because that one will get you. And then make sure enable this policy is allowed. Click OK. And now we need to make a policy that goes the opposite way, right? So we have it coming from the internal out. Now we have to have it coming from the VPN in. So we'll just right click that policy that we just made and we'll do clone reverse. Call that one in. We'll call this one out. Okay, and then we got to make sure that when we clone a reverse, it doesn't automatically enable. So we got to go in and we got to enable it. Go down here, hit enable, click OK. So now that we've got our VPN tunnel up and configured, we actually want to do some testing and making sure that it actually works. So we're going to go to the VPN section. We're going to go to IPsec tunnels. We can see that our tunnel is finally up. However, are we really sure that it's passing traffic? We like to do a little extra testing. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into our remote desktop. This is one of our servers sitting in our data center side. We're going to bring open a command prompt or a PowerShell. It doesn't really matter which one. And we're going to ping the remote side's Unifi USG. All right, so we can see that ping is working. Is other protocols working? So let's pop open a Chrome browser and let's see if we can navigate straight to this USG here. And there you have it. Our VPN is working. We have connectivity to our remote network and everything is exactly as it should be. If you guys have any questions about this or any suggestions, please let us know. But this is how we deploy our Unifi USG monitoring systems to our FortiGates for our monitoring services. Thanks everyone.